haven't made a YouTube video in probably about a year, and I've only made maybe 3 or 4 max. Shameful. Wretchedness. So I'm back. Hi, how you doing? Um, and I want to talk to you about a really awesome book that I just recently read, and it is called Mojo Workin, The Old African American Hoodoo System, and it is by Katrina Hazzard-Donald. I got this book on recommendation off of Facebook. We all get stuff off Facebook. Don't act like you don't. In a group that I belong to, it's an African American Wiccan group that I'm a part of. And so I bought the book because I really want to know more about our traditions on this continent. We are Africans in America, so I wanted to know more about our spiritual systems in this country. And so, hoodoo is really a part of like the black African experience in the South. You know, the Cubans have, Santeria and Lukumi. The Haitians have voodoo. New Orleans had New Orleans style voodoo or Grigri. And I was like, okay, so I know that my people have done something in in this tradition as well. How do we keep the traditions of our ancestors alive? My family originates from Arkansas and Louisiana and Mississippi, so it's always been around. Our family, we've always talked about it, but it was always kind of like not anything our family practiced, quote unquote, except there were these little things that we always did that, just like, oh, well, mama said, you know, don't let a bird get your hair and put it in the nest or you'll go crazy, or, certain little things like that. You gotta spit on the broom, or it's bad luck. If somebody sweep your feet, you gotta spit on the broom. So I was like, obviously we have some remnants of hoodoo, some remnants of our African religion. And I personally got involved in the Orisha tradition, the Ifa tradition, and learned a lot there, but I just knew there was more that was based in this continent as well as what was based in Nigeria and West Africa and things like that. I also, read up on some of the Kemetic traditions, and I knew all of these were pieces, but there was a really important piece, the piece that directly affected me as someone who has Southern roots, someone whose family, came from that area. Also having that Geechee Gullah connection, even though I've never actually been there. I've been to one island, and not really knowing that part of the family, but knowing that we were part of it. So this book really helped connect a lot of the dots. And it's also really interesting because she kind of breaks it down in different chapters. And FYI, the book is not that thick. It's not that hard to read. It's really, really informative to anybody who's interested in our traditions. Ultimately, it's about 185 pages. There are, obviously bibliography, notes, glossary, things of that nature. So if you want to do further reading, she's got some great information in here. And they're only about, and I just finished this book last night, so forgive me. They're basically about 7 chapters, a prescript and a postscript. My favorite chapters were, there is on chapter 3 is all about High John the Conqueror. I've read a lot of fiction about people who practice voodoo, about people who practice hoodoo, and I never really understood what this whole thing with High John the Conqueror was. Like, okay, it's rude, we can do stuff with it. Whoa, whoa. And when she broke it down, how it represented that African spirit of rebellion for our ancestors, it was like, oh, okay, now I get it. Now I understand how our people were working with it, who this High John the Conqueror was. And then when she went into the fact that it was actually based on some people in history, some men in history who stood up for rebellion, who were leaders in the Maroon nations, like, ooh, I'm even more impressed. Like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And then also she goes into, talking about the original Dr. Buzzard. I didn't know there was a real Dr. Buzzard. I just kind of thought that was just folklore. But finding out that Dr. Buzzard was actually a person and that was a lineage. Okay, we doing some things. All right, all right, all right. And going into chapter 6, it's called Healing the Sick, Raising the Dead. Hoodoo is healthcare, root doctors, midwives, and treaters. I'm a healer, and I'd love to be a midwife someday. So that really was interesting to me because I had read about the black midwife tradition and how it was, basically how the medical industry kind of put a lot of the black midwives out of business, even though their tradition is being, revived in the African American community. A lot of women are opting for that, but they basically scared so many women that they're terrified to trust their own bodies. And I get it because I don't have kids, but honestly, it looks painful. I'm not gonna lie. Ugh, okay, but for women who want to have that authentic experience, the fact that there are women out there who are still catching babies, who are still willing to help women catch their babies, is fantastic to me. And to know that this reaches back to our lineage and reaches back to our African lineage. This book, man, this book was, ah. So if you're interested in the truth about hoodoo, about root working, about really our lineage, this is an awesome book to get. She also goes into how between World War II and World War One, how the spiritual marketers, the people who weren't part of the hoodoo culture, came in and basically tried to take it over. And that's how we got a lot of traditions that really aren't our traditions, like buying different powders and different things, different mass produced mojos offline. How that's not really our tradition, how that's not how we did things, how we grew our roots and how we created our own, little talismans and mojos and gree and things like that. And there are a lot of great books out there to really give you information on herbalism. This is not one of them. You're not going to get a great deal about herbalism and things like that, but you will get some tidbits that are valuable, like how we would burn certain oils for certain deities, like how you burn safflower oil for Oshun instead of burning a yellow candle. I personally did not know that. Mad impressed. So, if you're really interested in learning about the history of hoodoo, I personally recommend it. She is a professor. She is an initiated priest of Ogun, so she does have an intimate connection. She's not someone from another religious system coming in and telling us about our stuff. She's connected. And she actually interviewed a lot of actual hoodoo practitioners. Um, One being Arthur Flowers, who wrote Another Good Love and Blues, which is one of my personal favorite fiction novels. And I also recommend that as well because it's a love story about a hoodoo woman and a blues man, and it is the bomb. I read it probably once a year because it's just an awesome book. So, anyway, that's my review. I hope you all get it. Let me know what you think about it if you do get it. Thank you so much. Peace and blessings.